Okay, so my turn to present the part of the Dream Project vision about the markets. And I think we are quite well in line with what Ricardo presented about this scenario 4, where in long-term perspective, we have the feeling that the DSO will have to play an active role on the market, either facilitator of the market, but as well use, for some extent, remaining flexibilities for his own need to solve constraints that are both voltage and congestions. So just to remember the first slide I showed yesterday, we really want to enhance this market-based approach that is quite feared by the actual DSOs. But we have the feeling that it's what EU is really willing, even if I completely agree with Ricardo. Then will come the question about the liquidity. Will we be able to create those distribution marketplace? It's what is written in our description of work, distributed marketplace for energy, for balancing, the heads intraday. And what we created, that is quite new, is this near real-time market, not to be as close as what the US is doing in the secondary control scheme for the frequency, but for what we can do locally at distribution level. So it's why we are having this split between 3 vertical work packages. In fact, there is 3 silos, let's say. Work package 2 is in line with work package 7. 2 is for research, 7 is for demonstration, and is about energy and balancing market, the ahead or intraday. Then work package 3 really deals about near real-time ancillary services, local market, try to solve congestions. Work package 4 is really if we really have a given congestion that we are not able to anticipate with the forecasts for the next 15 minutes in this work package 3, then we have to use and to control some loads to avoid to destroy some components. So then the question was, and while looking to the role proposed at the very beginning by Evolve DSO, we were in this market enabler, market facilitator ideas. When you don't have to really buy or sell products, the DSO is really the one that is validating locally, because he's the one that is knowing the distribution network, he's validating the different offers. And our ideas was really to create local distribution marketplace, meaning that distribution network is able to create platforms hosted by RTUs to get the different bits from the seller, from the customers. The DSO role about market participant then become important if you have this so-called near real-time market, because then he is buying flexibilities, remaining flexibilities. Remember, before there was raw package 2 that was validating offers to be sent to the upstream level. That means that they will be maybe used, but they were sold to some companies, some other companies. As you remember, this is a slide I showed yesterday. There is a tricky interaction, and maybe it's not already in the process completely fixed in Dream. We are still exploring some different scenarios for interaction, but for sure aggregator and end user have to interact either through the advanced metering infrastructure to have some kind of advice about how to create day-ahead or intraday bits for their own needs. But then, when let's say this type of advice are included either in the smart meter or in the energy boxes, then is starting the exchange between what we so-called, say, the local marketplace hosted in the data concentrator or hosted in the remote terminal unit that is managing this area. And we are both sending information about what is technical and, of course, what is commercial. Because as the colleague that was created even in Phoenix project before Address, this LV aggregator, well, the commercial and technical aggregator is the outcome of Phoenix project. What is a little bit different in Dream is that we are distributing this close to the end user because we have the feeling that a technical aggregator, if he's managing a complete DSO network, might have a problem to validate everything, to take into account all the different constraints in the different parts. Why building a load flow at the level of a region when you can do it at the level of a low voltage network? Because you have all the information locally. So, first step, again, I'm doing here aggregation. I'm doing the merit order. But in our scenario, this is not the place where you send back to the components acceptation of their production plan, because we go one step up toward the high voltage network, because of course you have dependencies between those low voltage network and their interaction with the medium voltage network. So up to the primary substation, the different aggregated or direct information from MV entities will go and will be aggregated first at feeder level and at substation level. Why there is a difference between feeder level and substation level? Substation level is just the sum of the different feeders, but having this subdivision help in the case of a reconfiguration. The feeder can extend, can change, but the substation is composed of several feeders, even if they are not really supplying loads. But they are interfaced with the transmission system operator. So all those offers, technical and commercial, are sent to the DSO. The validation was done automatically thanks to knowledge of the network. So there is no issue about DSO that will say, okay, I push more one or one other actors. That is something that have to be clear. And then, of course, information go back to the market. This is our vision. This is a vision we are supporting for day ahead, intraday, and then you will see when you are in near real time. I don't have that much slide, but we'll be able to discuss about that. How a technical aggregator or LV aggregator is using the remaining flexibilities to solve constraints. So it's the paper that was presented by Emmanuel in Sared. That is really showing this LV for MV, how LV cells are supporting MV networks. So let's try to map the market relations on SGAM. You all know SGAM, I'm sure. These are the different domains from generation, transmission, distribution, decentralized energy resources and customers to the zone. So process is all the different, let's say, electrical components, and field is all the, let's call them RTUs or energy boxes. Station are the piece of software or hardware, where you can run software at the station level. Then the SGAM is not that clear and is not really helping Dream project in a sense that they are only defining field and station. Station, in mind, primary substation. And we want to put a lot of, not intelligence, but responsibilities to the secondary substation as well. Then comes the operation. So here we are at the level of the SCADA. On top of the SCADA in DSO ICT system, you have the ERP, the management of the company, and then you have some gateways to the market. So this is more or less how it is splitted in this GAM modeling, and we try to map the different components that are of interest for Dream. So again, end user that are either MV or LV, distributed energy resources, distribution network. In this part are the hardware part of interest. End user, industrial, PV, wind, and so on. They have locally capacity to compute things, either in an energy box or in a smart meter. This is at the level of the customer. For the DR, either energy box or smart meter or RTUs. Depend on the size, depend on what is exactly your ability to monitor, for instance, your wind farm or to control it. Then you go to the to this RTU, that is the one I was presenting just before. This is this LVM aggregator, okay? And this aggregator should get both energy and capacity offers, energy for the energy market, capacity for the balancing market. Of course, there is then the question, how on balancing markets you are making the money. And usually it's not only on capacity you are getting the money. Of course, you have the money because you are offering a given capacity. But when you will activate this capacity, then it will be translated by a given energy. And sometime on the market, balancing market, we have the price for both. Anyway, let's start with end user either at medium or low voltage that are sending energy capacity offers to the aggregator agent. They will, this aggregator agent is only composed of information about who is the end user, who is this supplier or balancing responsible party. And so the idea is to ask to a second, that is, this one is really owned by the DSO. The first one is just a marketplace, sending the offers for local validation. Local because, as Ricardo was showing yesterday, you're able to do state estimation about what is the status of your network locally. And of course, thanks to local measurement, because it's not only validation or about state estimation need measurements. You're grabbing information locally to make sure that the validation is compliant with your own constraints. Once they are validated, you can go on the upstream level up to the primary substation, so the frontier between distribution and transmission, and the same process is done again. This is for day-ahead and intraday offers. Thanks to the local measurement, again, you have validated offers that are sent to the DSO, sorry. And both of them are able to interact at operation level. But of course, you can think about an interaction that can happen at higher level, at market level or at enterprise level. Our idea is that they should have a better interaction between DSO and TSOs. So do we always have to go through market process? I'm not sure. So we are pushing for a simple interaction first to make sure that the operation of the grid will go smoothly. Okay, so then of course information can go to the balancing responsible party, and this is the what we call in France nouveaux opérateurs d'ajustement, the operator that are as energy pool that was presented in Ideal, operator that are offering flexibility in the frequency restoration reserve manual, so the tertiary control scheme for frequency, for instance. And again, you remember the need of heterarchy or dynamic aggregation is related to the fact that we have the feeling that DSO can offer his own flexibility to the system, and while reconfiguring the network, it will increase the offers. While playing on the on-load tape changer, it will increase the capacity of the offers. While using the what was developed by Emmanuel, it will increase the virtual margin of the network to make sure that all the end users are within the limits of plus and minus 10%, this EN 160. And so that's why the reconfiguration is important, and the structure of the information, the flow of information is important. And we have the feeling that we are completely compliant with the advanced metering infrastructure. Even the big DSOs, as the one in Evolve DSO, are pushing. But as Ricardo was saying, of course, we are not looking for tomorrow or the day after. We are looking a little bit ahead of that, when really the regulation will allow and will push every end user to be market participant, as it was pushed since the beginning of the opening on the energy market. If you look at the directive of 1996, this was the idea. Of course, it's a step-by-step process, and we need to go slowly into a system that will work correctly.
Thank you. It will be really short because I don't have any slides, so I will just try to explain you the concept. I was thinking to involve the LV prosumers and LV producers, or all the actors that are in LV networks, to the market. I was thinking how to give him the possibility to participate in the market. So what I did is an algorithm that take all the flexibility offers that can be used in the LV network, and in the MV-LV aggregator and LV-MV DSO, I have an algorithm that creates the margins in voltage depending on the downstream LV network. So, for example, if I don't know if you have just the slide.
I'm trying to find the
yesterday. Yeah. Okay, but I will do it like this. So, for example, if we have no flexibility, the load flow computation is done on LV network, or it can be also LV state estimator. And we have the LV profile in all the LV network. And then we can measure the potentiality to move this LV profile in order to respect always the plus and minus 10% of the nominal voltage. And so this margin, I tried to push it in the MV level. And so I know this margin. And the more flexibility I have in the LV network, the more will be large, the more the margin will be large, because with activating LV flexibility, I can smooth the LV voltage profile. I don't know if it's clear, but it's the idea. But if you want more information, I've made a paper on it, so you can find it maybe in CERED.